Okay, this is a video to explain the differences and the similarities between these two fans. On the left is the 66 model W-22 by GE, and on the right is the 69 model W-25. As similar as these two fans are, there are several different factors that differ these two fans, such as you can probably see but the size difference. The W-25 is more compact. It's a little smaller than the 22. As you can see, if I set this one right next to it, you'll see it's probably half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch shorter in comparison to the W-22. It's hard to see, but here, let me try and set to the side a little more. Try and line them up a little better. Maybe you can see the difference a little closer there. Yeah, you can see it's shorter. And then as well as if you turn to their sides, you can see as well that they are indeed that they are thinner. And maybe there you can also see the height difference. Yeah, there you go. You can see it's thinner. I'll put them back in position. Should mark the floor or something. So there. Let me adjust. There. As far as operation goes on these fans, they both put out just about the same amount of airflow. Only the one on the left, the W-22, spins faster. It has a higher RPM motor. And cosmetically, there is another factor, or functionality, but the cage style that they mount them right here versus this. The removal of one on the left, you have to kind of get behind them, and you have to pull them out. And then you can lift it out and it'll swing open. And that's how the grills are mounted on the 22s. As well as the 3-wing W-12. Now the W-25 here, on the other hand, you have to actually get your hands behind it and you pull it out. And then they use this style mounts on the W-27 as well, the 2-speed. And then you push them back in, and there you go. And they both have the same plastic grip handle. They use these on all these 5-wings. They use those little plastic grip handles. Personally, I think they're really nice when you go to pick them up because they flex. They aren't a solid piece and they can actually move, but they do break over time. Fortunately, these two are still intact. Let's see how we are in the lighting. We're good. And so yeah, a lot of people have been saying that the 25 has a 2-amp motor, which is not true. I have the stickers on both of these underneath, and they both say 3.0, which is kind of confusing as this one, the W-25, runs much slower. There you go, you have the portable fan. Catalog number is F11W22. You can see right there, 3.0 amps on the W-22. Now, go to the 25. It's a little harder to read. It'll focus. F1 W-25. Amps. 3.0. Right there. That tells you that's what it runs at. So it is false if they say it runs at a 2.0. I mean, sure, it runs probably more like a 2.0 amp versus the 22 running at 3. So we'll reline the fans up and we'll do a comparison. Let me see if they're sitting. Actually, they're a little too close. Let me back them up a little bit. And then we will run them. So back them up. I think that should be good. Let's see. Turn the camera. There we go. That's good. So we'll start with the one on the left. We'll start with the 22 on the left first. We'll show the low speed. This one accelerates faster as well. Normally it runs at higher RPMs than this, but usually this motor has to warm up a little bit before it really takes off. I don't know why it does. It used to run right up to speed, now it doesn't. I think it's probably, I mean, I did oil it very recently here, so I'm just thinking maybe it's wearing out a little bit, but it still runs fine. And one of the factors I like about this fan is that it kind of varies on its slow speed. Like it'll slow down a little bit, then it'll pick up speed, go a little faster, then slow down again. Put it up to medium now. You'll hear a difference on a W-25's medium versus a 22's medium. This is like a high speed. You can hear that that's pretty high RPMs for a medium. High speed. I actually saw our lights filter. I changed it. So there you go. That's the W-22. Now we'll go to the 25. I won't bore you to death with this, so I'll stop this fan. Now we'll go to the low speed on this fan. You'll hear how much lower it is. Well, crap. I'm a bit of a klutz. You can hear how much quieter that low speed is. Now this is the fan I've been using to sleep. Can't sleep without a fan running, but this is the one I've been using for probably the past month. I was very hesitant to use these as, you know, they run really hot, but I've not had one issue with this fan since I've been using it. With medium, you can really hear a speed difference. And high speed. So that's the operation of the 25. Now I'm going to start it back up on low, and I'm going to put them both on and show a comparison. You'll be able to see probably on the camera, you'll be able to see that the left one is spinning faster. You can still see the effect of the blade spinning on the right one, as you can barely see it on the left one. I can't even hear the W-25 running over the 22. So I'll put them both on medium now. You can see how much slower the 25 is moving. And they're high speeds. They actually run almost the same on high speed. Now we'll do spin down. Now, if you want one with the engines on these, the motors on these fans, the W-25 is more prone to having issues, at least from what I've noticed. The 22s on the left That one at least hasn't had problems for me. It hasn't been giving me any issues since I've owned it. I mean, all I had to do was oil it and fix the buzzing issue. But those are the only two problems I've ever noticed with the 22. And you can see the 25 is spinning much longer. But the other issue with a 25 is you've seen, probably if you've looked up videos of these fans, you've seen that they do a clanking noise, like a ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk as they accelerate. That's another issue that the 25 and the ones after it had, was because they cheapened the motor a little bit, because if you look at how much beefier the 22 is compared to the 25. But that was because it was one of the poles in the motor. It was actually brushing against the rotor because it came loose. These are shaded pole motors, and it would start hammering. Now, I've never had that issue on a 22. I've actually owned 3 W-22s. I traded one out to get the 25. But the 25 was hammering. Didn't have a buzzing issue, which was very nice. It was less to fix. But the 25 had a little bit more of a scraping issue. That went away though. So, as you can tell, I've had to do a little more maintenance on the 25 versus the 22. So, in my opinion, if you want one for slumber and a quiet fan but still has incredible air output, go with the 25. If you want a fan that's a little beefier, a little easier to work on, doesn't have as many problems, and has maximum airflow between the two, go with the 22. There is a weight difference. 22, mine I weighed in at about 23 pounds. The W22, the W25 I weighed it in around 17 or 18. So you can tell there's a weight difference. And so yeah, you can tell there's definitely several differences between these two fans, both looking almost exactly alike, have several differences between them. So, like I said, I'm going to say now, my opinion for one of these, what I would choose, just my own opinion, everyone has their own opinion, I would take the 25. Just because of how nice and quiet it operates on low speed, but once you kick it up to higher medium, it really picks up the RPMs. It has that nice low slumber speed, but it has that really ballsy higher speeds, like the 22. So, now if you're one that likes a loud fan, go with the 22. If you like a quiet fan, go with the 25. One thing I've noticed is the 22s are much more common than a 25. 25 is actually pretty rare compared to a 22. So, like I said, I would go with the 25. Sure, it has a little more maintenance that you might have to do to it just to get it back up and running on its feet again. I mean, sure, it ran when I got it, but I needed to rewire it. And I'm not counting all that. I'll just kind of common sense repair, but there's just more. The 25 is more prone to have more issues than a 22, but if you keep your 25 running properly and you keep it oiled and maintained, it'll run you forever. I've been using it the past, like I said, I used it the past probably month now. I got it right at the end of August. It's right in October and I think it's the 8th today. So I've been using it every day since, and I've not had any issues with it. Maybe just a little bit, maybe it ran dry because this one doesn't have. And also, like I said, they're cheaper. It doesn't have the grooves cut into the rotor to shoot the oil up to the front of the bearing, as these are single bearings. The 22 has a spiraled groove to suck oil up to the front and then return it, so it keeps it moving. It doesn't lock up. So the 22 stays oiled much longer than a 25. So that's just another thing. You just have to oil it a little bit more. I mean, I've gone probably over a year without oiling that 22. But because of that sealed bearing cap, you can get a lot more oil to stay in there, and it just keeps shooting it forward and backwards in that one, and it'll stay oiled for a long time. And one more thing before I end this, sometimes both models will have this, but you'll hear a clicking. Now there's two possibilities for this. One, it can be that there's a gap in the front on the way the blades are mounted. It could be the washers clicking together. All I do to fix that is I just take a twist tie, and I just space it, or you can use a rubber band or whatever you can just get between those washers. Now the other one is in the back of the motor. Now the rotors are mounted by a C-clip and washers in the back to hold it and keep it from flying forward. And occasionally over time you can get a little space in there and that washer will begin to move in the back. And it will start to tap against that C-clip. Now what I do is I take a space, I used was I took fiber and I just basically spaced it with the fiber washer to get rid of that gap, so instead of the washer clicking against the washer, it would just brush against the little fiber washer and it wouldn't make that clicking. You might have just a little bit of rubbing for just a little while, then it goes away. And that spaces itself out properly. So I've had to do that to the 25. The 22, I really haven't had to do anything like that with. It was fine. So anyways, that's just what I've noticed. Those are the differences between these two. My opinions, I'd choose the 25. I mean, sure, the 22 was my childhood memory fan, and I finally got my grandfather's, and that's his on the left. And sure, that's the most valuable one to me. But my favorite would be the 25. So I would go with that if I was you. Like I said, we all have our own opinions to what we like. Our specs and standards are different. So I just thought I'd explain everything I could, as much in depth as I could. So make your decision after this video. One more thing, and then I'm done. I swear. The power cords on these fans, they differ. 25 was a little cheaper, so it had a shorter cord. I think it's probably only got a 5-foot cord, maybe. The 22 actually has a full 8-foot. So it's got quite the lengthy cord. So yeah, I think that's it. So those are the specs on these two similar but very different fans. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I hope I helped out as best I could. I always try. Hope I helped you make a decision on if you have one and you want the other one, or if you don't have any and you're trying to decide what you want between these two. Hope I helped make a clear decision for you. And all in all, these are probably the best fans I've ever owned, and they will be my all-time favorites. Now, I got my collection almost done at these 5 wings. I own the 22. I actually own 2 of them, the first and the second generation 22. Difference is the badge placement. This is the first generation on the left with it up in the corner. Second generation was in the center, like on the W-25. And then I own the first and second generation 22s. I own one W-25 on the right. And then I own a W-27 from Tory. Thank you very much. And then I just need to get the 2 reversible, the W-23 and the 26. And then my 5 wings will be all complete because I also have the WC2, the 14-inch. So yeah, there you go. That's the different things between these fans, and I hope I helped out. So thanks for watching.